Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the September 24th Board of Zoning Adjustment. Before we officially begin, I'd like to thank all city staff members who have prepared cases on your behalf. We really appreciate what they do. And even more so, I appreciate all my fellow board members who give their time twice a month to come down to listen to your cases and make judgments upon them. It's an unpaid position. We serve at the pleasure of our mayor. And we've been doing it for a long time, so we all have great experience. So thank you to all my fellow board members. All right. Sarah, please tell us about the meeting.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm going to describe the procedures for today's hybrid meeting. First, for those joining us online, there are two categories of people participating in the meeting online: attendees and panelists. Right now, the only panelists are board members and city staff. If you are an applicant or a member of the public who is interested in a case, please use the raise hand function when the case is announced to let staff know you would like to speak. There is a ribbon at the bottom of your Zoom screen with a hand icon. Please click this to raise your hand to request a promotion to panelist. You will need to accept the promotion to panelist in order to speak. It may appear temporarily as if you have been disconnected, but don't panic. You will reconnect shortly. If you are joining us via the Zoom app on a smartphone or computer, please change your screen name to reflect your legal name. If you are calling in on a phone number, you cannot adjust your screen name. It appears as your phone number. You can still provide testimony by raising your hand when the case is called by pressing star followed by the number 9. At the time of the promotion to panelist, you must turn on your camera and microphone to be sworn in. Your microphone needs to always be on mute unless you are giving testimony at the appropriate time. The chat box is only for questions about the agenda. Merits of each case are not to be discussed in the chat box. For those joining us today in person, please approach the microphone on the podium when it is appropriate to give testimony. Applicants may be seated at the center desk when the case is announced. Everyone planning to testify must sign in on the sign-in sheet that's near the door. If you are in person, there is no need for you to be on the Zoom meeting as well. Joining the meeting in both manners causes a lot of unnecessary feedback and audio disruptions. All public testimony, in person and virtual, is subject to the following rules. The BZA secretary or their designated representative will identify you when it is time for you to speak. You must be sworn in under oath to provide testimony. Please provide your full name and address when you are sworn in. Everyone, including board members, city staff, and members of the public, need to speak closely and clearly into the microphone. The BZA has set time limits for all testimony during its meeting. These time limits are 15 minutes for staff presentations, 20 minutes for presentations by applicants, 2 minutes for testimony by individuals, and 5 minutes for testimony by persons representing an organization such as a neighborhood association, HOA, CID, or business association. You will hear an alarm when your allotted time is over. Please be respectful and wrap up your statement once you hear the alarm. We ask that there be no repetitive or irrelevant testimony. If you wish to admit exhibits, you need to have your exhibits ready on a jump drive or ready to share on your screen, and email the exhibits if they are admitted to the assigned planner. The Board of Zoning Adjustment may take breaks during the day. These breaks are typically taken around 10:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. and will be announced by the chair. Those are all of our procedures for today.
Thank you so much. Before we start to review cases, I'd like to swear in all city staff who are presenting today. If you're online, please on your cameras or microphone. If not, please come up to the podium. Sarah, we ready?
Yes.
Okay. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today? If so, please identify yourselves.
Sarah Copeland, I do.
James Duddy, I do.
Alec Gustafson, I do.
Connor Tomlin, I do.
Stephanie Saldari, I do.
Anna Naniski, I do.
Thank you, everyone. Sarah, I'm going to turn it over to you to identify the continuances and/or dismissals today.
We have 3 cases that are being continued, beginning with docket item number 5, case CD BZA 2025-127, a request to approve several variances to the Troost Corridor Overlay District, plus any other necessary variances to construct a multi-unit building within a master planned development district on about 0.788 acres, generally located at 3200 Troost Avenue. Staff requests continuance to October 8th. Docket item number 7 is case CD BZA 2025-128, 128, a request to approve several variances to the Troost Corridor Overlay District, plus any other necessary variances to construct a multi-unit building within a master planned development district on about 0.545 acres, generally located at 3211 Troost Avenue. Staff requests a continuance to October 8th. And docket item number 8, case CD BZA 2025-130, a request to approve several variances to the Troost Corridor Overlay District, plus any other necessary variances to construct a multi-unit building within a master plan development district on about 0.696. Sorry, we're having technical difficulties.
Okay.
So something about the sound. We're going to wait just a moment.
The music on.
We're good? Okay.
Do we need to repeat anything? I think we're good.
Generally located at 3200 Forest Avenue. Staff also recommends continuance to October 8th. So for our friends who might be watching on YouTube, we're continuing docket items number 5, 7, and 8. All to October 8th.
Thank you. Is there any public testimony on the continuances and or dismissals for these items? If so, please step forward or raise your hand in Zoom.
We do not have any hands raised online.
All right. Board members?
I move that we continue docket items 5, 7, and 8.
Thank you, Ms. Otto. Do I have a second on those continuances?
Second.
Second from Ms. Wright.
Gorens,
Aye.
Otto,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Ventura,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. Those matters are acted upon. And please call the first case, Sarah.
Docket item number 1 is case CD BZA 2025-79, a request to approve a variance to the residential vehicular standards to permit a larger driveway in the front yard, plus any other needed variances in an R 2.5 zoning district on about 0.07 acres, generally located at 418 Lawndale Avenue. This is a case continued from July 9th, and you are all part of the previously established quorum. Stephanie Saldari is the staff planner for this case. If you are the applicant or a member of the public who would like to speak on this case, please come to the center desk or approach the microphone on the podium or raise your hand online to be sworn in.
Anyone, Sarah?
We do not have any hands raised online.
Perhaps Mr. Campos?
I can contact him. We can try later.
Sure. You want to move it to later in the docket?
Yeah,
And you try to reach hold of him, Stephanie?
yeah,
That'd be great.
I did remind him to come in today.
Okay, we'll come back to this one. Would you like to move on to docket item number 2? Okay, docket item number 2, we will also call docket item number 6 because these are companion cases. Number 2 is case CD BZA 2025-111, a request to approve a variance to the transparency allowance for signs in a public right-of-way, plus any other variances in a DC 15 zoning district on about 0.218 acres, generally located at 300 East 12th Street. And Alec Gustafson is the staff planner for this case, and docket item number 6 is CD BZA 2025-107, a request to appeal a notice of violation related to window signage coverage on about 0.2 acres, generally located at 300 East 12th Street. Anna Naniski is the staff planner for that case. If we have the applicant here, if you are a member of the public who would like to testify on this case, please approach the microphone on the podium or raise your hand online to be sworn in.
Is anyone online?
We do
Sarah?
not have any hands raised online.
Good morning, gentlemen. Please raise your right hands to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear? Do you have somebody else coming up?
We have 3 others in the audience just in case.
Okay.
Then they need to come to the microphone on the
Come to the
podium to be
microphone.
sworn in.
Can we swear all those guys in just in case? All those people, excuse me? Okay, here we go. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today? Aaron, let's start with you.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I do.
We need your
Please
name
state your
and address
and-
for the
Aaron
court
Martin with the
records.
Rouse Fritz White Cost Law Firm, 4510 Bellevue, Kansas City, Missouri, here today on behalf of the owner applicant, Argum LLC, and we do accept all of the exhibits jumping ahead.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead. Next.
Douglas Spalla, attorney for the Army Corps of Engineers, over here at the Bowling Building, 612 East 12th Street.
Thank you.
I do. George Randall, Security Officer for Navy Recruiting, 300 East 12th Street, Kansas City, Missouri.
Thank you, Mr. Randall.
Hi, Kathy Charito, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, over here at the Federal Building.
Thank you.
Mark Gillings, team lead for the recruiting office and the Corps.
Thank you, Mark.
Gus Meyer, Rao Construction, 1215 West 12th Street, Kansas City.
Great. Thank you so much. As already admitted, those administrative exhibits are admitted, and part of that is a presentation by Alec on this case. So Alec, please tell us all about it. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so today we have docket item number 2 and number 6. This is for a appeal to a notice of violation for related to window signage, and then also a variance related to the transparency allowance for signs in the public right of way. The site is located very close to here. It's in the downtown loop. It's on 12th Street, 300 East 12th Street. As you can see, it's on the corner of McGee and East 12th Street in a DC 15 zoning district. The facade of the building does front onto the right of way. So that's where we get the reference code for making sure that signage is not more than 15% transparent on in the public right of way. This is also an appeal of violation. So I will let Anna speak a little bit to the actual appeal itself. These are just images of the signage, and you wanna...
Yep. As you can see that the windows in question with the signage, they kind of wrap around to multiple fronts of the building. So I have them numbered just as a reference for some other data that numbers that I'm going to speak to in a little bit. So if you can move on to the next slide. So some key points about the appeal case. So we're specifically talking about 88-44502D, which talks about signage and how window signs cannot exceed 15% of the window. Some alternatives that the property owner has is to remove large sections of the signs or request a variance with the hardship argument, which is another part of this case today. And another reminder about the review criteria associated with an appeal, that it may only be sustained if the Board of Zoning Adjustment finds that the administrative official have erred. And in this case, it's the zoning and development compliance staff who inspected the property, which found that the window signage is more than 15% of those windows. And due to photo evidence, we believe that they did apply the zoning and development code correctly to this property. So next slide, please, Alec. So I didn't have any like sign plans per se for this building. So I estimated how much of the signage actually is on these windows, like in rough proportions wise. And the numbers here showcase to those different window sections that Alec highlighted before. So we can see that all of the windows are very much covered. There's two also ways that you can kind of consider this. What's the actual part of the sign and the entire window, because there's the signage and there's the fact that the windows are also completely opaque. So one could argue that they are 100% covered because you've got the black portions and the portions that have like the text and the pictures. But just for the sake for the BZA to understand it in multiple different ways, you can see that they are very much fully covered. So it ranges from 37% to the highest being 77%. Again, rough proportionalities covered in signs. And again, that's something that is straight text and or pictures. But when we consider that the windows are completely opaque with the black film as well. And then they are 100% covered. Alec.
Thank you, Anna.
And we move forward and we would, as Anna mentioned, we look at the windows either as what's the signage, what's the pictures and the text, but then also we could also look at the extreme of what is fully opaque being a sign. And our 8844502D, in our sign code, says that signs inside windows and doors which are visible from any right of way may not cover more than 15% of the window or door and may not include any digital or electric charging display. We can disregard that part. But the important part that I want to note is the signs inside windows and doors, which are visible from any public right of way. What you see here is the lease provision for renting this space out to the Army Corps of Engineers. And there's a section written in red down in the bottom of this lease provision that says the existing storefront windows are not laminated glass. The interior face of storefront glazing to receive 3 meter Scotch Shield Ultra film. They're specifically saying that these signs have to be on the inside of the windows, which corresponds to what our sign code says, meaning saying that these signs inside of windows cannot cover more than 15% of the window or door in the public right of way. And again, it notes in all capitals not to be installed on any exterior windows or doors, further emphasizing the point that these are on the inside of the windows and therefore applicable to 8844502D. So when we look at the variance, then we look at what's the most restrictive, and based on the windows being fully opaque and taking into account the black areas, sorry, and the signage and the text, the variance to the window signage is to permit 100% coverage of signage / tinting on the facade of the building. This would be a 567% change if we look at the extreme. A substantial change to the character of the neighborhood would be anticipated due to there being very few or no other buildings in the area with 100% window signage or tinting on the facade. The difficulty could be obviated by a change in design, just making the signs smaller or and more visible through the windows for the pedestrians. Also utilizing things such as blinds would do just about the same thing as covering the area, where signage could be made to conform to the 15%, but then blinds could be used to make sure that no one's being able to see in, if that's the intent of the tinting. So that's the variance we're looking at. And just as a little bit of history, there actually was a very similar case like this, I believe back in 2021, 2022. This is the building directly next door. This is I think 320 East 12th Street. And this was a case back in 2022, which was a request to approve variances to signs and all other necessary variances. But this was basically, they had all of this mesh and the signage covering much more than 15% of the window facade facing the front right of way. The variance was dismissed. It was agreed upon that they would remove the signs, and it was then dismissed. So there is a historic precedence for upholding staff's notice of violation and denying the variance. With that, I will take any questions that you have, and that concludes my presentation.
Board members, any questions? Alec?
Also remember a case from prior to 2022, and it was on Warnell Road, and it was a chiropractor, and they put a lot of things all over the windows, and that was denied, is my memory. But I'm going in the Wayback Machine now.
I also remember that case as well, and that was denied. All right, Mr. March, why should we approve your request?
Hello.
Yep.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name again, once again, is Aaron March. I'm with the Rouse Fretz White Goss Law Firm here today on behalf of the property owner, Argum LLC, and you have sworn in our other witnesses. Before I get into my PowerPoint presentation, which I would offer into
That'll be
the
exhibit
record.
number 10, admitted. Thank you.
I'd like to note that there is a very significant distinction between the cases that you remember in this case. Those were for-profit businesses, commercial operations. This is the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Recruiting Office. and there are very significant and distinct security and safety concerns, which we will get into, which mandate in our lease, which roll over and become requirements of our lease and every lease that the Corps of Engineers enters into for these types of facilities. So that's a distinction. That's what is unique about this property with this lease, different from anybody else other than other Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine recruiting offices. Next slide, please. The building you've pretty much, staff has identified. The Argyle building, many of you will remember that the lease space we're talking about, next slide, is the old location of the Connie's Hamburger Joint, just to have a little bit of walk down memory lane. We're looking at the northeast corner, 12th and McGee Street. Next slide. This is the window on McGee Street. Next slide. Looking north from 12th Street, we have McGee wrapping around the corner. This is the old entrance to Connie's. Next slide, please. Looking north from 12th Street, and then the next slide. And I want to point out on this slide that you'll note the far right-hand side of the building, to the right of the Argyle building entrance. There's no signage. There's full transparency there. We only have this signage where we are required by we only have these, and you'll hear layered security measures. You'll hear force protection used in a minute. We only have those measures where the recruiting office is located. Next slide, please. This, by the way, is a view directly west of City Hall, looking on Oak Street. This is a city where the city is the landlord. This is a building where I think more than 15% of the facade of the windows are covered. Next slide. This is a view of the city business license office at 118 Oak Street, next door. The shades are down. That violates the transparency requirement. If the goal is to have people being able to look in and see what's going on at street level, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, except when safety is concerned. Next slide. Same issue with the Kansas City Parking Services, 1120 Oak, right across the street. Technical in nature, but we would ask that you dismiss the case because the ticket that we were given, the citation doesn't cite the correct provision. It cites 88-10, it cites 88-100, it cites 88-110-1, it cites 88-615. That's not the provision that staff said we violated. Staff alleges that we violated 88-445-02-D, which talks about not having signs in excess of 15%. That's not on our ticket. It's technical. They cited us for the wrong reason. And on that basis alone, we ask that you dismiss this case. Moving on to the substance of the case, our lease with the Corps of Engineers, if there was one lease provision that we were never going to be able to negotiate out, it was this provision. It talks about layered safety measures, and we're required to have layered ballistic protection and no transparency into the lease space for safety of recruiting officers and guests. And you'll hear more about that in a minute from Mr. George Randall, who's a security officer for the St. Louis district of the Navy Recruiting District. He happened to move his office from St. Louis here to this space. We have to have a ballistic membrane. On top of that, we have to have dual roller shades on the windows to further make it not opaque and viewable from the inside. And then on top of that, we have to have fixed panel shades. It's layers and layers and layers on purpose and intentionally for the safety of the recruiting officers and the safety of the people coming, talking about being recruited. With that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Randall to talk about it from his perspective as the security officer for the St. Louis district. Mr. Randall.
Good morning. Appreciate the opportunity to speak to the board this morning to advocate for the recruiting personnel that work in our stations. Quick background, my name is George Randall. I am a retired Navy Lieutenant Commander with almost 32 years of service. And for the past 10 years, I've been working as the Anti-Terrorism Officer and Force Protection Officer for Navy Recruiting, headquartered out of St. Louis. We have 42 stations in Illinois, Missouri, and Kansas. And my sole job is to maintain the safety of those recruiting personnel that are working in those locations. Security at recruiting stations changed significantly on July 16th of 2015, when a gunman attacked a Navy recruiting office and reserve center in Chattanooga, Tennessee. At the recruiting office, he fired more than 30 rounds into the station, leaving 7 recruiters to scramble for cover, and still one was wounded. The only thing really preventing a significant, more tragic incident there was the fact that he didn't leave his car. He fired from his vehicle in the parking lot and then left the area to his next target, which happened to be the reserve center. One recruiter was still wounded, and thankfully he did leave the scene, because at that time there was nothing to prevent them from entering the station to continue their attack. Unfortunately for the reserve center, the attack prolonged, and there was 4 Marines and 1 sailor who killed at that location. As with all serious incidents that happened in the military, key personnel always get together and do what we call an autopsy to identify lessons learned and what we can do in the future to prevent those types of attacks and reduce the vulnerabilities of our personnel that are working in these locations. And make no mistake, the recruiting offices are some of the most vulnerable locations in the country when it comes to military presence, because we don't have a dedicated security force or a perimeter fence protecting us. One of the mitigations that was implemented by the services was to obscure exterior windows so that potential threats could not see into the station and identify targets. The challenge, however, becomes, how do you keep people from the outside looking into the station while still allowing the recruiters on the inside to see out of the station? So when you're talking about blinds are fine. You can certainly obscure vision from the outside with blinds. That also obscures the vision of recruiters to see out. So that's the beauty of the perforated window graphics, because they will prevent people from the outside seeing in while allowing the recruiters to still see out. And I will also mention, with the perforated window wrapping, is you actually can see in the facility, but you have to get up really close on the glass to look in, because it is perforated. There's been a lot more upgrades at recruiting stations since those attacks in Chattanooga. I'm not going to get into all of that. It does include locking the front entrances and installing access control equipment, which you can see if you were to go to this location. There is a video door station at the front door where you can call in via a doorbell to the recruiters and be screened through an intercom before entry is allowed. Naturally, all the other measures, it's good policy not to share our internal security measures and make that public information. But this is critical to preventing someone from conducting detailed surveillance. The obscuration of the windows to prevent people from looking inside. You don't want someone to be able to be sitting outside for days or weeks at a time, conducting surveillance of the facility to determine the inner workings of what is going on. We do know that the vast majority of people are peaceful and supportive. I've really felt nothing but great support from the public throughout my 32 years in uniform. But we still have to plan for the worst, because there are people out there who wish to resort to violence. So the obscuration is denying the potential threat from seeing the inner workings of our station, and really disrupts a critical part of any attack planning cycle, which is surveillance. Open to any questions that you might have.
Board members, anything?
So
Lawrence?
go ahead.
Wouldn't it be better if you didn't have your quote about being the Navy location and just had something not so obscure to find the people to come by and want to hurt you? Wouldn't it be better if you obscured the name? You have a quote up there. about being a Navy SEAL or Navy officer. And seemed like you wouldn't want to direct anybody there.
Well, sir, I guess the challenge is, and this is just where we can only hope to reduce or mitigate vulnerabilities. We can't completely eliminate risk. The goal of the Navy is to recruit the best and brightest, and we can't do that if they don't know where to find us. So that's just, unfortunately, just one of the things that we have to mitigate and try to reduce the risk as much as possible, because we want the community to be able to find us.
I would think the Navy.com or something like that would be enough for somebody looking, but not so, they're so large that the person would find it. Some dummy with a gun, you know, so I don't know, just opinion.
Ms. Otto, did you have a comment?
What's the length of the lease?
It's a 10-year lease, and I was going to offer at my close that we would be happy if the board would grant us the variance that it will be limited in time to the duration of the lease and any renewals of it. So it is specific to this tenant and doesn't run with the land forever as to the building.
And then I understand, are these safety measures, Mr. Randall, dictated by the federal government, or is there a statute or a regulation that dictates this, or is this just a practice that is employed? And maybe Douglas can answer that.
Yes, they are. And this comes down from the Secretary of Defense, and it works its way down through each of the command chains. Yeah, these aren't, to be respectful of the audience, these aren't things we can really move forward without having.
That's what I wanted to understand. I understand how the government works, and muscle lawyers, so I understand this
Yes.
could be better than some of my fellow board members. The other question I have is the ballistic requirements. What type of bullets does the glass stop?
Well, the glass itself is not bulletproof. There are interior things that meet that requirement, and if I would rather not.
I understand that. So, but let me ask you this: do those measures? Kind of need to know this. Do these measures sit in front of the window so that the people on the inside can't see out?
I think she's saying the opposite. You want to always be able to see out and what's going on. You're trying to limit who can see what's going on inside. Correct?
Correct.
And the film, sir, is the protective device for you, as I understand it.
The film is so when we're talking about films, the graphics are what we're talking about today, but on the inside of the windows, there is what's called fragmentation film for anti-blast protection. So if there was a blast or something like that, you wouldn't have shattered glass flying into the stations, but that is not bulletproof. There's additional ballistic protection inside the facility.
Thank you.
And could that film that is covering the windows that are making it opaque, could it come downward so that there was some more space at the top? In other words, that people at ground level, and what are the buildings around so that someone could get a vantage point into something like that? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I mean, I don't think in most cases you're going to if it's at the top, it may not look aesthetically the same because you would have those gaps. That's not really so much a concern me force protection wise, because unless you're 10 feet tall, you're not going to be able to see in. I would point out that if on McGee Street, when you're walking up the sidewalk, the sidewalk elevates. So actually, by the time you get to the end of our office space, the sidewalk is 5 feet above our floor. So if there wasn't something blinds or graphics, they would be looking down into our office space.
I'm looking for any compromise, because that's our job.
I appreciate that. I did not mention when you're asking about the standards, the Navy has over 1,200 recruiting stations across the country, and this is the standard across the country.
How often do you have to seek a variance from a city that you have a recruiting station in?
To my knowledge, we have never sought one. There's never been a case. And I've talked to your whole Army General Command as of yesterday and the day before, and to their knowledge, they were unaware of this ever occurring.
Are those other buildings, those storefronts like this, or is the construction similar, or are they in solid wall buildings where you don't have this same issue?
Well, so you have, the Navy has 1,200. I'm not sure the rest of the service, the complete number, but we are in areas similar to urban areas like this and far reaches in rural communities, and there's not been one to our knowledge. That was a question we have looked at over the past 2 days to see, because this was a new one, and we completely respect this forum, but this was something that we were unaware of.
Is this requirement in all your leases?
Correct. Yes. Across the entire country.
So why did you guys not seek a variance before they moved into the building if it was in the lease requirements?
We didn't know that the provision would be enforced, first of all, and also we received a building permit.
So you seem fairly familiar with the building code. You were talking about whether or not the citation was proper. So just so I understand, you're saying you didn't ask for a variance because you didn't think it was going to be enforced because you didn't think it was important.
I wasn't involved at the time. I got involved after the citation. So I don't know why a variance wasn't requested, other than possibly the fact that no other variance for this type of situation for the military has ever been needed. So it is reasonable, not suggesting that it's correct, but it's reasonable if every other city, not making it right, if every other city's allowed this, and it's in all of the leases across the country, and that's what the other people in the audience are prepared to testify to, in addition to Mr. Smala, we thought it'd be okay here. That's my presumption.
So this is a 10-year lease starting what date, Mr. March?
Off the top of my head, I would say the lease started within the last 9 to 10 months.
And you said there were options on the lease?
There are options for renewal, and as a compromise, we would, as a building owner, we're not looking for the variance, which it would, to run with the land forever in perpetuity. We're willing to tie it to this unique situation and this unique tenant.
How many options do you have?
That would be up to the services, but that would be a compromise if we're willing to accept, because our security measures would likely change within the next 10 years or so too. So perhaps there's a new development in glass technology or film membrane or shatter resistance. So if that would be a compromise to the board, I think that's something we'd be willing to accept.
But if the full terms of the lease are executed, how long would this lease last for?
What is our start date?
You've got to talk in front of the
Yep.
microphone,
Yeah, we
please.
can't
Thank
hear
you so
Yep.
much. It's okay.
There are 5-year leases with an option to renew, so that makes it the 10 years.
Okay.
But I'll let Kathy speak because she handles the administration of the leases
Hello,
themselves.
Kathy. Thank you.
Hi. Yes, the lease term at right now runs for 5 years. I believe we took an acceptance of the space mid-July. So it will run a period of through June 30th and 5 years from now.
And with an option for renewal.
Yes, that's usually because it would be a waste of taxpayers' money to keep moving our, facilities.
Right.
So when you say 10 years, it's a 5-year lease and then 5 one-year renewals?
It's a 5-year lease. That I think somebody misspoke when they said 10. It's a 5-year lease.
And each of them are succeeding 5-year leases after that.
Right.
So if we did a renewal, it would be another 5-year term,
Okay, and how many options are there then?
as many as the services
Okay,
would
so
like.
it's a potentially indefinite lease then.
Yes, yeah. But each lease, each renewal is a new lease. So the compromise for the 10 years could be every 5 years, if you'd like, we could come and seek a variance, and we could do it prematurely because we know when we're going to seek, because we'll be tracking those 5 years as well.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks, Kathy.
So one more question, sorry.
No,
Mr. Chairman.
you're my legal person.
So it's Gonzalo now.
Gonzalo.
Mr. March, on the technicality of your argument on of the notice being under the wrong ordinance, how long have you been aware of the provision that the city is asserting in today's hearing as being the basis?
As soon as my client forwarded to me the notice of violation and it came into my office 3 or 4 or 7 days late, we had a 15-day appeal. We had to appeal. And the minute I called the officer issuing the citation, talk about it, and I mentioned that we appealed, and she said, now that you've appealed, there's nothing more for us to talk about. So that's not to degrade that that's just the process. So we didn't get to talk about the violation. And the practical effect is you dismiss it, we don't get the variance, they're going to go out and write a new citation under the proper code. So, this is the lawyer in me, if you will. Let's dismiss the case so we don't have that, and we have the variance if it's your pleasure for whatever period of time you'd be willing to grant it, subject to us coming back and asking for a renewal.
Right, and that's my question. I mean, because if the board dismisses this, we're all coming back here again. So I'm wanting to understand if you really are standing on that argument really strongly today, Mr. March.
If you denied my request to dismiss and granted us the variance, that would be a result we could live with.
Otherwise, we dismiss it and we see you in a few weeks.
Well, if you grant the variance, then there is no longer a
I
basis.
understand that, but
Yeah.
I'm saying otherwise we're coming back here.
Correct.
So if the board, okay, I got it. Just wanted to make sure I understood where you stood.
Our objective is to seek the variance. If the dismissal is also granted, so be it. If not, so be it.
As I usually ask in these circumstances, or have in the past, it was pointed out 1128 Oak Street is potentially also an issue. Has that been investigated, or is that being investigated?
That I'm not sure of. I would maybe look to Jim Duddy.
The case was brought up before us. All of those cases will now be under investigation, and cases on Oak have been and are currently in litigation with municipal court.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. March, did you have other testimony on
No,
this particular case?
Mr. Chairman, as I mentioned, I did have 2 other witnesses if you wanted to hear us talk about all of the other leases, but I think that testimony is already before you and it would be redundant. So with that, I'll conclude my presentation and ask that you dismiss with a wink and a nod the notice of violation, but more importantly, grant the variance for the term of the lease. And if we do need to come back in 5 years, we will, for seeking a renewal. If you'll grant it for 1 additional renewal period, then you'll see us in 10 years. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then just for your consideration and your knowledge,
Yes,
we
sir.
would invite you to the space in the near future if you would like to visit both the inside and outside, and we can give you a more detailed explanation of when, where, why, and how we do these build-outs.
Understood, but we'll probably not take that offer, but thank you very much
Yeah.
for making it.
I might visit.
Just give
There
us a
are no
call.
hamburgers left over from Connie, so.
It's curious. Curiosity kills the cat. You know what I mean? So anyway.
We've made various tours at other sites over the years.
Yeah, I was gonna be like, come on, we had fun doing those, Mark. Kidding. It's all right.
Well, the invitation's open, so
Thank
if
you,
we do
sir.
need to, we will.
Thank you, Douglas. Board members?
I have a motion.
Remember, they must be individual motions,
I
as I
understand.
know you know.
I'm going to take number 6 first because that's the technical case.
Right.
In docket number 6, case number 107, I move that the board dismiss the notice of violation.
Okay, I have a motion on that.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gonzalo.
Gorence,
Aye.
Otto,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Ventura,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. So that part is dismissed.
Right.
Now
Then
let's-
go
Go ahead.
And then moving to docket number 2, case number 111, I move that the applicant be granted a variance for the term of 5 years in accordance with the staff report and site plan.
I have a motion for Ms. Otto. Do I have a second?
Didn't we just vote on?
No, we voted on number 6, which
Okay.
was to dismiss.
All right, issue.
So on number
Second.
2,
A second.
okay, you have a second on that, Mr. Gorens? Thank you.
Gorence,
Aye.
Otto,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Ventura,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. Your request is granted. Thank you very much for coming before us today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
To the members in the audience, thank you again for coming before us too. Mark and Gus, we
Yeah.
didn't hear from you, but thank you. All right. Number 3, when you're ready, Sarah.
Docket item number 3 is case CD BZA 2025-115, a request to approve a variance to the separation distance of an accessory structure plus any other variances in an R6 zoning district on about 0.232 acres, generally located at 2618 Madison Avenue. Alec Gustafson is the staff planner for this case. If you are the applicant or a member of the public who would like to speak on this case, please raise your hand online or approach the microphone on the podium to be sworn in. Chris Coors is being promoted to panelist online. And that is the applicant.
I'm the owner.
You're the owner?
We have
Okay, we'll
the
get you
owner.
just a second.
There are no other hands raised online.
You're promoting Chris, I'm guessing?
Yes, and he is online. If you could please turn your camera and microphone on to be sworn in.
There you go. Hello, Chris. Can you hear us?
I
Good?
can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we're good. So
Perfect.
everyone raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today? If so, please say I do, along with your name and address.
I do.
Oh, wait, let's do Chris first, then we'll do it. Chris, you go first.
Yep, I do. Chris Coors, 605 Colburn Street, Belton, Missouri, 64012.
Thank you. And sir?
Andrew Alvarez, 2618 Madison.
Thank you. And Andrew, are you for or against this? Are
He's
you
the
you're
owner.
the owner of the building? Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's the owner. Sorry, Andrew. Chris or Andrew, who wants to speak on today? Who wants to talk?
I'll let Chris.
Okay, let Chris go. Hey, Chris, there's a
Yes.
list of administrative exhibits labeled 1 to 9 that we need to admit for your case today. Do you have any questions on those exhibits? And if not, do we have your permission to admit them?
No questions, and yes, you have my permission.
Thank you so much. One of those is a presentation by Alec. Go ahead and tell us all about it.
Good. Make sure you can see it. Okay, today we have docket item number 3, CDBZA 2025-115. This is 2618 Madison Avenue in an R6 zoning district. And this is a variance request for the separation distance between the garage, a new build garage, and the principal structure on the subject site. Our case is located in the West Side neighborhood. This is just a aerial view of the site. We will now be looking at the pavement that was done prior to infill standards, and this is an infill property. So we are only looking at the new build garage and the distance between it and the principal structure. Here's just a view from the alleyway of the original garage. The one on the left is what is being torn down and rebuilt, which will be closer than 10 feet to the principal structure, which is the home, and then the garage, which is attached. Here's a view of the front property. And then here's just a view again of the aerial, but closer up. Here's the site plan that was proposed. You can see that there's 6 feet 6 inches between the existing garage, which is attached to the home, making it one singular structure, and then the proposed garage, which is 6 feet 6 inches apart from the existing principal structure. Here's just a plan view of what the new garage is supposed to look like. And then here are the elevations of said garage. Our variance request is for 3.5 feet to the distance requirement of 10 feet to all other accessory buildings, principal buildings, to permit a 6.5 foot separation between the detached garage and the primary dwelling. This is a 35% change. Staff report says that a substantial change to the character of the neighborhood would be anticipated due to the lack of properties in the context area that have detached garages within 10 feet of the primary dwelling unit. The difficulty could be obviated by a change in design, making the garage smaller and closer to the north property line to create more separation. This is an infill lot, but the infill residential code does not mention detached garages, other than that they should be in the rear of the property. So we are specifically looking at 88305, which is our accessory dwelling or our accessory structure standards, which calls out that they need to be 10 feet separated. And with that, I can answer any questions or we can speak.
Can you flash the existing property photograph back up again?
Yes.
Now that I've had a chance to. And then
What about the other view?
The front view.
The front
view.
The front view. I see that, but
one more. You had a picture before then, Alec. There you go.
The garage goes all the way through the property.
to the back. So this is the back side of the property.
This is the alley. This is the front. So
Garage has 2 doors you can enter from either side.
yes, and then they're proposing a second garage that's detached.
So what is that small structure then on the left right now?
Garage. That's the old garage. It's gone now.
They've torn that down, and what they're proposing is another garage that I can go to the site plan that fronts onto the concrete driveway, so more space to park.
It'll be in the same spot, but
Why the need for so much garage space?
I have classic cars I work on, I buy.
So either Chris or Alec, why should we grant your request today? Were you done, by the way, Alec?
Yes, I was.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. Chris, you want to go first? Why should we grant the request?
Well, I mean, I think the most importantly, the size of the garage that the homeowner, is proposing that we build for him is kind of required based upon the vehicles that he wants to keep in the garage that, which are, valuables to him. And if we have to decrease the garage, if the variance is not granted, then it's going to make it difficult for, him to use the garage for the purpose it was intended for.
Andrew, do you want to make any comments?
Not really, no.
So the back portion where we have the need for the variance, there's a bump out in the garage. What is that for? So that's not, we're going to park a vehicle, right? It's like there's a little bit.
No, that keeps it 10 feet from the existing garage from the side. The only thing that's gonna be closer is that one corner.
Sure.
So it kind of.
So there's 10 feet between the garage as I'm looking at, there's the L shape that comes up like this, and maybe Alex can answer that. So there's 10 feet between the existing garage and the one corner of the garage, but not where you see the arrow going back and forth. Is that what you're saying?
Of the,
I mean, maybe you
the
can.
garage.
If,
Yes.
this is Chris Coors, if I may be able to intervene. I think I can answer your question, ma'am.
Sure, go ahead.
The main purpose of that bump out back there, because of the elevation of the grade of the yard, there's a walk-in door that goes into a man door, if you will, into that little extended out area of that L-shaped part of the new proposed garage. And because of the grade back there where that walk-in door is going to require steps to get down into the garage floor level. I believe it's going to be either 4 or 5 steps. And the purpose of that bump out back there is so those steps can be enclosed in that bump out area and not take up space in the actual parking area of the new structure.
So show me on that diagram, on the proposed diagram, where the violation is. Is it just corner to corner?
The violation is the 6 feet from the existing garage to the corner here.
Okay.
That's 10 feet, and
But,
then
but the other
or
way,
6 feet.
there's 10 feet between there and there. Where
This
yeah.
this way is also 6.6 feet.
Okay, that's what I was trying to understand. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's more than just one corner. Okay,
Yeah.
I just was confused. Okay, all right, thanks, I understand.
Chris, are you proposing to put in firewall type resistance material in that area?
That is correct. As well as the north wall, I believe, over on the other side of the garage as well. I think it's spec'd out for that in the plans.
All right.
Does the existing garage have that same or similar fire resistant features?
No. Not that I know of, no.
I do know that when Chris and I originally talked about this in the pre-application meeting, we did talk about the possibility of moving the building further to the north to make that distance greater and possibly meet that 10-foot requirement. But we are sitting here with the same site plan, so.
Do they have room to do that? And do you need a variance from that side if you move it that direction?
You can have, if I'm remembering right, you can have 1.5 feet of setback for an accessory structure in the rear, and they're currently sitting at 5 feet. So if the math is right, if they're sitting at 1.5 feet, then they've got 3.5 feet extra, and what they currently have is 6.5 feet of separation. Add 3.5, you.
So Chris, why can you not do that? Is there some issue with your?
Upon the last visit to the site, when I was doing some specific measuring on this, I believe we're still going to fall a little short, even with that 1.5 foot setback on that north side. I still believe we're going to fall short of the 10 feet space in that walkway there, if you will.
Well, you'd probably have it this direction. That's what I'm saying. You're still going to have that there. So, because I don't think you're going to move it that far. Okay. All right.
And it faces the alleyway, so it's not very offensive to me visually. So, motions, anybody, or more discussion?
The only part that's gonna be not 10 feet is just that one corner.
That's correct. Yeah.
The where L is like this is gonna be 10 feet, but it's only that one corner. It's 6'6".
That if he moves it or based off the current design that we're
Current.
Yeah.
Even if he moves it, I think you're still going to need the same variance because of the L shape. You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
Would the percentage be the same though? The 30?
No, it'd be less.
It'd be less, yeah, but you'd still have that same distance though, I think. That's what I'm saying, because it's the same distance, right, this way as this way now. But even if you move it back, you're still going to have that same, right, Alex?
Yeah.
I think the variance amount here is, what is it? It's
3.5 feet, 3.5.
because you're still going to have one point that still needs that same percentage, that 30%.
You'd have for the southern point that would be.
So even if he moves it, that's what I'm saying, the variance doesn't change, so. I have a motion.
Yes, Miss Otto?
In docket number 3, case number 115, I move that the board grant the variance requested as stated in the staff report and site plans.
I have a motion. Do I have a second from someone? Second from Mr. Gorence?
Gorence,
Aye.
Otto,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Ventura,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. Your project is approved. Thank you for coming before us today.
Thank you very much.
Good luck with it. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Number 4, Stephanie.
Docket item number 4 is case CD BZA 2025-126, a request to approve a variance to permit a deck to encroach in the front setback, plus any other needed variances in an R6 zoning district on about 0.22 acres, generally located at 3850 Northeast Indianola Drive. Stephanie Saldari is the staff planner. If you are a member of the public who would like to speak on this case, please approach the microphone on the podium or raise your hand online to be sworn in. There are no hands raised online.
Thank you, Sarah. Good morning, gentlemen. Please raise your right hands to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today? If so, say I do, along with your name and address, please. Go ahead.
I do. My name is Pete Medina, 3820 Northeast Indianola Drive, Kansas City, Missouri.
Thank you, Mr. Pete.
I do. My name is Brian Medina. I live at 3850 Drive.
Thank you. And Scoochie, the microphone closer to you. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Who's speaking on the case? Is it Pete or Brian?
I'll be speaking on the case, and Brian will be my backup in case I mess up.
That's great, Pete. There's a list of administrative exhibits associated with your case. They're labeled 1 to 9. Do you have any questions on those exhibits? And if not, do I have your permission to admit them?
Yes, you have my permission, and no, I don't have any questions.
That's great. Thank you, sir. Part of that is a presentation to the fine lady to your left, Miss Stephanie Saldari.
Before we start, I'd like to compliment this young lady for the work she's done helping us.
Thank you.
And also the city for the Compass KC, which is a great site, by the way.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so we have docket item number 4, CD BCA 2025-126, located on 3850 Northeast Indianola Drive, zone R-6, and the applicant seeks to obtain a variance to permit a deck to encroach on the front setback. This deck has been constructed. So the subject site is located north of North Kansas City. Highlighted in yellow is the subject site. And then this is the site plan. So here's the house and here is that deck. So it goes about 1.9 inches in front of the front wall. So this is the deck. And this is just another angle of the deck. And these are photos of the house before this deck was constructed. The stairs were in disrepair, and it used to be just a stoop. And then the deck was constructed with the stairs to be able to access the home. All right, and then we have one variance request for today. So this is a variance to the features allowed to encroach on the front setback to permit a deck to encroach by 1.9 on the subject site per submitted site plan. So this is a complete deviation. A change to the character of the neighborhood is anticipated only because, to staff's knowledge, none of the nearby houses have decks that encroach on the front setback, at least immediately adjacent. Can the difficulty be obviated by a change in the sign so the deck can be scaled back to match the front wall of the house, or the deck can be converted to a porch by putting a solid roof across the entire length of the deck, which would be allowed. So front porches can encroach on the front setback by 10 feet, decks cannot encroach at all. So if this roof were to be made solid and stretched all the way across, then that would obviate the need for a variance. And then another thing to point out, so this is an infill lot. So the required front setback for an R6 zoning district under conventional standards, it's a maximum of 30 feet. And this would have allowed the deck to stay. However, because it's an infill residential lot, the maximum required front setback under the infill residential context area is 37 feet. So basically it's up to where the front wall is. So there's nowhere. So it just can't encroach. There's no encroachment space, I guess you could say. But that concludes my presentation.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Soderi.
Would the roof being added fix the second issue as well?
Yeah, I would have, because right now it's more like a pergola type roof. So if it were to be filled in and be solid, it would count.
Understood. Thank you.
Would have to go all the way across the front of the home.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Mr. Pete, why should we grant your request today, sir?
Thank you for allowing me to make the presentation. This home, when we purchased it, my son and his wife and myself, was in major disrepair, almost to be condemned, to be honest with you. I purchased it from a veteran that I met that lived up the road from me. And when he passed, his daughter wanted to know if I would consider buying the property. When I inspected the property initially, the property had the front stoop. Stephanie, would you show that front stoop?
Yeah.
For me? Thanks. The front stoop and entry to the house was completely gone. If you look at the garage door to the left, it was basically broken, and it was constantly being invaded by individuals doing drugs in that property. So it really reduced the property value in that area. This property is unique because it sits on the front of a hill. In other words, the door area to the street level is over 10 feet. The original house, and doing research on the house, by the way, my background is I'm a mechanical engineer, retired now. So when I speak to you about these things, I'm looking at it from the mechanics of it. The house itself was a kit home. It was built in the 50s and literally was glued together. It was very bad disrepair, and it was infested with bed bugs to the point that we had to have it completely cured of that. In analyzing the wall structure, is a block wall with no reinforcement within the blocks. They attach a 4 by 5 by 5 feet deep concrete mass with 2 threaded rods through a block wall. In other words, that whole front area was being pulled by the soil erosion below that particular stoop. In doing that, it tore it away from the house and made the entrance literally through the garage. What I analyzed there is I had to remove all of that. Could you pull up the grade where we graded the property? I think it's further down. Keep going. I think it's further.
Oh, I only have those 3 photos.
Okay.
But all the photos you submitted, they can see in the staff
Oh, they
report.
can't? There's one that shows the grade.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
There's one that shows the grade in there. And what we did was I repaired the wall where the blocks were loose and broken. And by the way, this is over a period of 3 years working on weekends. My son, his wife, and myself, we repaired the wall and determined that any cantilever pressure on that wall would again demolish it. So we decided that the best approach to this was to build an entry that would allow us to come from street level, or not street level, but the entry on the pavement up to the deck level, which would be the door. That entry is 8 foot, 1 inch literally to get to that level. So in designing this, made it so that we would be able to go up the steps, one level, second steps up to the entry to the house. The reason the deck protrudes, to be honest with you, 1'6" beyond the front entrance is that board lengths come to that length. And I just build it based on the boards for the least amount of work required. And in doing so, my son brought up, maybe we ought to go by the city and talk to the city about this. I approached the city and met Stephanie and guided me through this process, at which point she recommended that I apply for a variance. I use methodology, engineering methodology to build this deck that it's solid and built with 6x6 posts throughout and very, very heavy construction on the beams to take the loads. It is not attached to the house. It's a freestanding deck with solid footings on it. I also constructed a wall in the entrance to the garage that you see in one of the pictures that and will keep the soil from eroding into the garage area, was what was happening before. Actually, obviously, the design on this home back in the 50s did not take in any of these conditions. And repairing all of this, I think I've made a very solid structure that complies and beautifies the neighborhood. Both my neighbors, I have a signed copy of my neighbors, each side, that do not object to the work that we've done there. The uniqueness of this property is there are no neighbors in front of it. It is a wooded area that my son and I maintain. It is a part of the Waterworks Park. And my sons, I have another son that lives in the same block, and I live in the same block. We literally take care of that whole area. I talked to the neighbors before we did any of this, and nobody objected to this. I bring that up to you because nobody has come online to object to the work we've done. So the variance that I asked for is more a hardship variance to be able to enter the house and than anything else. With that, I conclude my presentation.
All right, thank you, sir. Board members, do you have any questions of him? Looks like a fine design.
Thank you,
I
sir.
like the grass too.
It's for my son.
I think a lot of hard work went into that. So anyway.
Yes, it has.
Anyone?
Questions?
Yeah. Board members, any motions if there's no more questions?
I would say like very nice design. You can tell you put a lot of thought and detail in this with your expertise. And definitely like when people take, blighted homes and make them home
Thank you.
again. Yeah, for people. For me.
Plus, it's the home for my son.
Exactly. Yes, of course. It's only a 1 foot or 1.9.
1.9.
Yeah, 1.9. So it's not a huge variance in my opinion. And the overall design looks good, and I feel like it was necessary. I think it's.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd much rather give the variance for the 1.9 than make them build a whole nother roof, even though a closed porch might be nice, but. I'll make a motion on docket number 4, case number 126.
Perfect.
That we approve the variance in accordance to the staff report and site plans.
I have a motion by Ms. Wright. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Second by Mr. Ventura.
Gorence,
Aye.
Otto,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Ventura,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. Your project is approved. Thank you for coming. before
Thank you
us.
very much.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Thanks,
Have a
everyone.
nice day.
See the love in it.
Thank you. I think I've earned this hat, by the way.
What does it say?
Best dad ever.
I think you probably did, Ms. Medina.
10:15, we good for another case?
Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
another one real quick
Okay.
since we
Thank you.
have since we're on a schedule today.
Docket item number 9, this case CDBZA 2025-109. A request to appeal a zoning violation related to an abandoned non-conforming sign within the B4-5 zoning district on about 0.631 acres, generally located at 1700 East Truman Road. Anna Naniski is the staff planner for this case. If you are the applicant or a member of the public who would like to speak on this case, please raise your hand online or approach the center desk. If you are the applicant or the microphone on the podium to be sworn in.
The mic on here, do you think that's like?
I don't believe he was joining us today.
Michael Kinder, are you online? If so, raise your hand.
We don't appear to have an applicant. No.
Anna, do you want to try to contact, we have
want me
that first case
Yeah.
we're coming back to too. Do you want to see if you maybe can get them?
Okay, we'll go to docket item number 10, is case CDBZA 2025-124. A request to approve a variance in an R6 district to the setback requirements for accessory structures to permit a detached accessory garage in the rear yard on the subject site, plus any additional variances on about 0.13 acres, generally located at 308 East 67th Street. Connor Tomlin is the staff planner for this case. We have our applicant. If you are a member of the public who would like to speak on this case, please raise your hand online or approach the microphone on the podium to be sworn in.
Are you seeing any hands raised?
We do not have any hands raised online.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
I've got to get caught up with you. Just give me a quick second here. There we go. Please raise your right hands to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today? If so, say I do or I don't, along with your name and address, please.
I do. Kelly Quinn, 308 East 67th Street.
Thank you, Kelly.
I do. Tim Quinn, 1513 Southeast 11th Street, Lee Summit, Missouri.
Okay, great.
64081.
Kelly or Tim, are you speaking on who's going to be speaking on the case today?
As a property owner, I will be speaking, but he's my contractor, so I will allow him
Of
to speak
course.
as well.
All right,
I
thank you.
need it. Thank you.
And Kelly, there's a list of administrative exhibits labeled 1 to 9 that we need to omit for your case today. Do you have any questions on those?
No,
Okay, and do we have your permission to omit them?
absolutely.
Thank
yes.
you. Part of that is a presentation to the fine gentleman to your left, Mr. Tomlin. Connor, tell us about it.
Okay, we have docket item 10, CDBZA 2025-124 at 308 East 67th Street. This is an R6 zoning district, and the request is a variance to the setback requirements for a detached accessory garage, plus any additional variances. This is this is the general area of the site. This is a closer look at the site outlined in yellow. This is the site plan provided. It's probably going to be easier to zoom in and read in your staff reports. This is a picture of the current condition and the existing garage that is there. Just as a note, I wanted to point out that in this general area, there does appear to be other garages or detached accessory structures, whatever they may be, that would probably be non-compliant with setback requirements. However, it's hard to say in certainty without measured setbacks. So variance request A is a variance of 1.5 feet to the required rear yard setback for a detached accessory structure to permit that rear setback at 0 feet on the subject site. Again, that's a 1.5 foot change. A substantial change to the character of the neighborhood is not as anticipated, as I described in that previous image showing where it looks like other structures might not be compliant with that setback. This being said, it does not constitute that reconstructed structures continue to remain out of conformance. And the difficulty could be obviated through a change of design, such as relocating the garage 1.5 feet from the side and rear property lines, as this would still allow a 10-foot setback separation, since it's currently shown as 11.5 feet from the primary structure. However, it does appear if that were to be shifted, that the driveway would either have to be shifted or additional pavement be poured as well to accommodate that. Variance request B is the same thing, but instead of the rear setback, it's to the side yard setback, 1.5 feet to the required side yard setback for that detached accessory structure to exist at 0 feet setback. Same thing as last time. It could be shifted 1.5 feet from the side property line to meet that requirement and still remain 10 feet from the principal structure based on the submitted site plan. And that concludes my presentation. I'm open to any questions.
Any questions of Mr. Tomlin, board members? All right, Kelly, why should we approve your request today?
Well, I, first of all, would like to say that I am a long-term owner of this property. I've lived there for 24 years. I have recently retired. I'm looking to, as Connor had indicated, tear down my current garage and put one that I think will be more usable to me in my retirement and beyond. The existing structure is 10 by 16, and I'm looking to build a modestly larger one at 14 by 18. I think one of the pictures that he showed or included in his staff report was the picture of my garage with the car, which you can see there's just no additional space in there at all. It fits my car, and I can hang a ladder on the side, and that's about it. And I can tell you too, just so you know, the inner structure of this, the concrete, if it can't tell from that picture, I think you can, it's all broken up down the middle. And it has been this way since the 24 years that I've been there. And the only reason why the structure is standing is that somebody before me married good 2x4s next to the termite eaten 2x4s. Otherwise, the structure would not even be standing at all. So I am looking to improve my property in regards to that. My property was built in 1931 based on the materials that are in the garage. It is my understanding and belief that the garage was built at the same time. So this garage has been around a long time. It is currently built on the property lines. If this variance is not granted, the hardships I think to me would be is that I'm going to get an 18-inch strip of land on the north side of my property and the east side of my property that is essentially unusable and will be hard to maintain because I won't be able to get a lawnmower down there. I have an existing shed that will be torn down that I think the distance between the back fence and that is about 24 inches. And even just to get back there to try to rake leaves, you bend over to try to put the leaves in the leaf bag, and your rake is hitting the structure or that. And I had tried to mitigate that too, because I had put down the landscaping fabric with rock over it, so there's no material, but you get regular organic material all the time, so you have weeds to do. It's just very difficult to maintain. There would also be additional expenses of having to complete the fence line on the north side because my garage on the north side and the east side essentially make up part of the fence line for my neighbors, 2 neighbors behind me where it impacts, and then my neighbor on the east. So we would have the additional expense of having to finish the fence line from the east side and north side of the property. And then as Connor had indicated, I'm either going to have to move my driveway or incur additional costs related to pouring concrete so I can accommodate the shift. And I would also like to point out that one of the items that was included in the staff report on page 5 under the variance review criteria, part B, was indicating that part of the reason for the setback requirements was to promote accessibility to the property lines and otherwise to reduce the risk of the fire jumping between properties that may occur. The only thing that touches my garage right now is the fence on whatever side. And so you are talking about, if I don't get the variance, that garage will be moved south 18 inches closer to my main property, and then it would also be shifted to the west 18 inches closer to my property, which therefore reducing the distance between and theoretically could, make the fire jump if there was one. In regards to this, Connor had indicated that our schematic indicates that there is currently in our plan 11.5 feet between whatever the new garage I'm proposing in my house. So if we move that in 18 inches, that's going to be right at the 10 feet variance requirement. And that, there's just no margin for error. And when you construct things, you have to have a little margin, or at least in my experience, you have to have a little margin for error. To the best of my knowledge, there was no dissenters when we made this application for the two properties on the north side that my garage abuts or makes their fence line. I did try to contact them personally. They didn't answer the door. So then I wrote up a little letter and explained who I was, explaining what I was trying to do and that the city would be in contact, but also included my contact information. They have not contacted me. My neighbor on the east, they have not had any problems with it. I mean, they painted their house earlier this year and they didn't like the yellow of my garage and asked if they could paint it the color that they had used on their house. And of course, I consented to that because it's in their backyard and I don't see it. So for those reasons, I would respectfully ask that this variance be granted because I'm not, other than making it modestly larger, I'm just replacing what is already existing and has existed, to my knowledge, since 1931. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Quinn.
Welcome to Brookside.
Yeah. And you said you owned a ladder?
I do own a ladder.
You shouldn't be on a ladder and in retirement. I'm just telling you.
Thank you. I will remember that. I'll let him be the one who gets on the ladder for me. I appreciate
Do you have
it.
any other comments? She seemed to be pretty
Nope, she followed my
efficient
script
in what she
exactly.
said. Nice. And it's a 1.5 foot variance, not very much, so.
How confident are you about where your property line is?
I've lived there for 24 years and I've had except with the exception of my neighbor to my west, who has been there the entire time that I have lived there. These people have the three houses that abut it have changed hands multiple times. I have never had anybody complain to me. I've had no formal surveys to my knowledge. Nobody's ever said you're on my property line or anything like that. So I would assume that it's true to the property line. I just don't remember 24 years ago and what happened when I bought it. I'm sorry.
Right. Anybody else? Motions?
I can make a motion. In docket number 10, case number 124, I move that the board grant the variance requested as stated in the staff report and as outlined in the site plans.
Thank you, Ms. Otto. I have a motion. Do you have a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Wright.
Gorence,
Aye.
Otto,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Ventura,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. Good luck with your project.
Thank you
very
so
much.
very much. I appreciate your time today.
Have fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Yeah,
take a
break
yeah,
time.
Yeah.
We'll be back in 10 or 15. What do you want to do?
10.
10.
We need to.
Well, we skipped two. Alec, it's not on the Zoom.
You're fine. So within the next 10 days or by next Friday, I'll have what's called dismissal.
We've got to.
And I'll attach it to the case, even though go in and down.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate it.
Have a
Have a
great
great
day.
day.
Okay.
Guess it's kind of.
Great. Welcome back after our quick break. What's our next case, Sarah?
Our next case is docket item number 11, case CD BZA 2025-125, a request to approve a variance in an R2.5 district to allow features allowed to encroach in required setbacks to permit a porch addition on the subject site, plus any additional variances on about 0.14 acres, generally located at 1614 West 44th Street. Connor Tomlin is the staff planner. If you are a member of the public who would like to speak on this case, please raise your hand online or approach the microphone on the podium to be sworn in. And we have no hands raised online.
Okay, great. Good morning, gentlemen. Could you
Morning.
raise your right hands to be sworn? Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today? If so, please say I do, along with your name and address.
I do. Greg Ruthers, I'm the architect and the applicant, and the address is 4224 Rainbow Boulevard in Kansas City, Kansas.
Okay, thank you.
My name is James Gotch and I'm the owner.
Thank you, James. Address 1614. What's your address?
4348 Wyoming Street, Kansas City, Missouri.
Great, thank you. Gentlemen, who's speaking on the case? Greg or James?
We would both like to, but I'll start.
Okay, great. There's a list of administrative exhibits associated with the case, 1 to 9. Do we have your permission to admit those, or do you have any questions about those exhibits as well?
No questions, and yes, you have our permission.
Part of that is a presentation by Connor to your left. Connor, tell us about it.
Sure. One thing I did want to note is I did get a notarized letter of testimony that was uploaded to the case on Compass KC after the staff report was published. So if you guys would like to see that, it would need to be admitted.
Okay, let's go ahead and admit that. That'll be exhibit number 10.
Okay, so we have docket item 11, CD BZA 2025-125, located at 1614 West 44th. This is an R2.5 zoning district, and a variance. The variance request is to the measurements and exceptions for features allowed to encroach in required setbacks to permit reconstruction of a porch plus any additional variances. This is the general location of the site, and a closer look at the site outlined in yellow. This is the site plan. I believe they are reconstructing the home entirely. These are a couple elevations. The variance request, not sure where that went. I put that in there, but the variance request, let me get this off my staff report really quick. Of complete deviation to the features allowed to encroach in required setbacks to permit a porch within the street side yard on the subject site. It's a complete deviation. A substantial change to the character of the neighborhood is anticipated as the existing structure has had a porch in the street side yard for many years prior to the adoption of current standards. But that being said, reconstruction of structures and features of these structures generally requires compliance with currently adopted standards. The difficulty could be obviated through a change of design, such as removing the porch and leaving a patio in its place. That being said, I do want to mention, which I believe they'll also touch on, that back in December 2024, and you've probably read this in the staff report, that they had reached out to city staff with a preliminary site plan asking if the location of the porch would be okay. They were told that it would be, and then they, went through the plan phase of designing and then submitted their plans for review. It came to me for review, and I had determined that it could not be constructed there. And they were given poor information by other staff member back in that December 2024 time period. So that's why this has come before you today. And with that, that concludes my presentation. I'm open to any questions you guys may have.
Connor, the one notarized letter, was that in support or opposition?
It was in support.
Thank you. Gentlemen, why should we grant your, I'm sorry, board members, any questions of Mr. Tomlin? Why should we grant your request today, gentlemen?
Well, when Jim came to me and asked us to design a house for him. He wanted the porch to be on that side. We tried to read the city code, and even an architect, I was a little bit unclear on whether that would be permitted or not. It is a corner lot. But so we submitted a plan that showed this side porch. And again, as Connor said, we were told by staff that that would be fine. The plans that we ultimately submitted are almost identical to that original submitted plan. I would also like to say we have included a porch on the front in order to be consistent with the existing architecture and the existing streetscape. It is just not the main entrance to the house. The main entrance, Jim would like to be on the south. It's less of a grade change there, requiring only a couple of steps rather than a bunch of steps that would be required off of Genesee Street. So that's kind of a hardship, in addition to the fact that we were essentially approved and then had to ask for this variance after the fact. I think it would be in the city's interest actually to approve this because it presents a better facade and elevation to 44th Street. And there are several houses on 44th Street that do front 44th Street. Even though this lot, it's determined that the front is on Genesee. Mr. Gotch, Jim has prepared some comments too. I'd like to turn it over to him if I could and let him.
Perfect. Hi, good morning. How do you do? As the owner, I wanted to tell you, my wife and I we want to build this home on one level with an easily accessible and sheltered front door, and the south side, which is on 44th Street, offers the fewest steps and the shortest path for when we get old. We planned and designed this house with the assurance from the city staff that it would not be an issue to put the porch on the south side, which is on the setback. We spent a great deal of time and money to design a house that meets our needs as we age. And if we cannot put the sheltered porch on the south as designed, the house will be difficult to access and use later, possibly. And if we had to move the porch and access, it would require a costly redesign and of windows and floor plan. And we do have that approval of the nearest neighbor just across to the south on 44th Street, sent in a letter of support. And they're wholly in support of this project and look forward to it. And the address is on 44th Street. And this would be an open porch. It's not a structure that would block the view. It would be see-through, basically. And that's my points. I hope you will approve our request.
Thank you for that testimony. Board members, you have any questions on this one?
I think since this is the address of the house, it's an interesting location. So I don't have any questions.
Nor do I. And you kind of got a little bit of misleading information to begin with, but that's sometimes things happen. So we understand that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, board members, any other questions, comments, or motions?
I'll make a motion on docket number 11, case number 125. Our request that we approve the variance as mentioned in the site report and the site plans.
Thank you, Ms. Wright.
Second.
Second from Mr. Gorens.
Gorens,
Aye.
Otto,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Ventura,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. Your project is approved. Good luck with it, sir. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you
before us.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Docket item number 12 is case CD BZA 2025-123, a request to approve a variance to the width of a driveway plus any other variances in an R6 zoning district on about 0.241 acres generally located at 3526 North College Avenue. Alec Gustafson is the staff planner for this case, and we have the applicants here. If you are a member of the public who would like to speak on this case, please approach the microphone on the podium to be sworn in or raise your hand online. We have one hand raised, Earl Brolette. I will promote to panelist.
Got to catch up just for a second. All right. It was Brulette, is that his name? Or her
Earl.
name?
You do need to accept the promotion to panelist in order to speak. Should be rejoining. If you could please turn on your camera and microphone to be sworn in.
We don't hear you yet. Could you turn on your camera or microphone or
Yes,
microphone?
I'm trying to figure that out. Sorry,
There
it
you
took so
go.
long.
You're there.
Hello.
Where you were.
Hello.
Okay, we're going to have all three of you raise your right hands to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, nothing but the truth in this meeting today? Earl, we're going to start with you. If you agree, say I do, along with your name and address.
I do. Earl Brulette, 3532 North College Avenue, Kansas City, Missouri, 64117.
And sir, are you here in support or opposition?
Support.
Okay, thank you. We'll give you a chance to talk in a minute, and let's start with the fine lady to your left.
I do. I'm Ashley Hayes, a co-applicant and property owner at 3526 North College Avenue, Kansas City.
Thank you, Ashley.
Nicholas Hayes, 3526 North College Avenue, Kansas City, Missouri. I do.
Thank you very much. Who's going to be speaking of the Hayeses? Ashley or?
Both of us.
Okay, great. There's a list of administrative exhibits labeled 1 to 9 that we'd like to admit for your case today. Do you have any questions on those exhibits? And if not, do we have your permission to do that?
No questions, yes.
Thank you very much. Part of this is a presentation by Mr. Tomlin to your left. Connor, tell us about this case.
Thank you, Mark. This is CDBZA docket number 12. Let me make sure I share this for you, actually. Okay, we have docket item number 12. This is CDBZA 2025-123 at 3526 North College Avenue. It's a request for a variance to the width of the driveway at the property line in an infill residential development. Our property is located just north of North Kansas City. Here's an aerial view. This is North College Avenue. It's R6, and it is an infill development. Here's just a view of the property before. This is from Google Street View before the work was done. This is the driveway, and as you can see, they're able to park their 2 cars in the driveway, as it did exist. And then this is what you can see afterward. They extended the driveway past the allotted 22 feet to 28 feet. And then also added some gravel parking on the left of our screen, but the south portion of the driveway. And there's the gravel section. Here's the site plan. This does not exceed the 40% impervious surface that's required in infill, so they're good on that front. The main concern was the 28 feet driveway at the front of the property line. They were cited for a violation for this, and they're here before us now for a variance. What's permitted is 22 feet, and it's extended to 28. So we have a variance of 6 feet to the maximum width of a driveway at the property line to permit a driveway width of 28 feet where it should have been 22, which is what it was prior to the extension of the driveway. This is our first variance, so it's a 6-foot variance with a 27.27% change. I said a substantial change to the character of the neighborhood would be anticipated because other homes in the area do not exceed the maximum width of the driveways at the property line. This home exceeding the width of the property line at the driveway does change the context of the infill area. And if you can recall, the main point of infill ordinance is that infill properties maintain consistent character on in their context area, which is 200 feet of the frontage of their block face. So exceeding the property line would, in my opinion, change the context area. The difficulty could be obviated by a change in design. The driveway could be made smaller at the property line. And then our next variance is a variance to allow the gravel parking space in a zoning district where it's not permitted. 88-4-2016 Q says that gravel vehicular use areas are only permitted in M districts, M3 and M4 in particular. So this being an R6 zoning district is a complete deviation from what the zoning code says. And it's similar to what I said about the last variance, the infill context area and the basis for infill does change the character of the neighborhood by allowing this gravel parking lot to maintain on the property, because no other homes in the context area or in the infill area have gravel parking lots or parking spaces. So the difficulty could be obviated just simply by removing the gravel parking space. One thing that I did not actually prepare, but I am not sure of, is if they were to pave that gravel area, whether or not that would go over that allotted percentage for impervious surface or not. So just
And
let
there'd
us know
still
about
be
that.
parking in the front yard, isn't that right, Connor?
Yeah, there is already parking in the front yard with the driveway, but
Oh, I see.
yeah.
Okay. Board members, any questions of Mr. Tomlin? All right, either Ashley, Nick, tell us why we should grant your request today.
All right. Public speaking is not my forte. I'm actually a foreman for a concrete company. I've been doing concrete for 25 years. The reason I was told I needed to prove some hardships, so the reason I made the driveway wider, well, there were several. Originally it was about 19 feet wide. I drive a work truck that is 22 feet by 7'9", almost 8 feet wide. So when that truck is parked in the driveway along with my other personal truck and her car, backing out can be painful at times. We had issues backing out. If we tried to back out of the driveway, we would hit the mailbox across the street. The road is very narrow right there. It's a 17'9", which the measurement doesn't sound all that narrow, but when you're backing out of the driveway and you only have so much room, you come out, if you're parked on the north side of the driveway, we would constantly run into the drainage ditch as we were trying to back out. So we would back in to the neighbor's driveway or across the street and pull out. Well, he absolutely despises that. He has come out and yelled at us several times. So one reason I was doing it was to avoid conflict with him. Another reason was to be able to pull out without making a multi-point turn. With the wing there, it makes it possible to back out without having to pull into his driveway at all or run the chance of hitting his mailbox, which has happened three times, and we fixed it. And then let's see. As far as the gravel, I did that. I did upload some pictures of the old drainage ditch that was there beforehand. Rain would come down and clog that culvert with other rocks from up the street or whatever, gravel. And so I decided to put the gravel there. It was temporary. It was always going to be temporary. I had planned on paving it. After learning about the 40% paving in the front yard, my plan is to use decorative landscaping rock and take it all the way to the street. That's what I'm doing the whole front yard with, because it's almost impossible to keep grass there. It's always been dirt and dust and weeds. It's all it's ever been. So I've already started landscaping the whole yard with Colorado River rock, which is beautiful, to replace the dirt and the weeds that have been there for the past 14 years. I'm hoping that you'll let me just extend that rock out into, which is considered landscaping, and keep it like that. I can't think of anything else right now. I'm gonna let her speak.
Hi. I'm Ashley,
Well, close to
Ashley
that.
Hayes. Can you hear me?
To the microphone so they can record
I'm
on the
sorry.
court recorder.
Okay, hi. I'm sorry. I'm a little nervous too, not normally a public
Don't be
speaker.
nervous.
He's the infrastructure guy, so he's giving you all the technical reasons why we did that to the driveway. I do want to thank you for allowing us to speak on our behalf today, and I would just like to go ahead and point out we were completely unaware of the city ordinances or, you know, the zoning rules and regulations. So I apologize for that. None of this was intentional. Had we been more aware of it, we would have gotten the variance approved and not had the complaint from the neighbor. My only other thing to add to that is just stressing further altercations and interactions with that neighbor across the street at 3527 at all. We've had issues. He's spewed profanities and racial slurs at our children, other children in the neighborhood, about people backing into the driveway, and even just for a kid's soccer ball going in the yard. So, but that's my main concern with that is the safety of my children and the fact that they should be able to play without being harassed.
Okay. Connor, or even the applicants, the Hayes, if you cut the driveway off at that corner, does that give us the width we're looking for?
I don't believe so. I can go back to the site
Yeah.
plan.
No, it's
So if I
20
cut the corner off, it would be 23 feet.
Yeah.
So the space next to the house is 32. Is that's a problem too, correct?
That they meet the 40%
So that's
impervious
okay.
surface, so that's fine. Yeah,
So it's
it's just the width
it's
and then the
width of
gravel.
the driveway that comes out, right?
Yes. Yep, it's the wing.
It's the wing, I think, is the
A-
issue.
And with the River Rock, Mr. and Mrs. Hayes, you're still wanting to park on that River Rock?
No, ma'am.
No.
No, ma'am. That was a temporary, like the truck being parked there, it was never a designated, intended to be a parking spot. That truck being parked there right now is, we have a teenage driver driving a big vehicle and she pulls in. And
Originally, my plan was to pave it and have it as a parking spot, but we have a young driver and it's easier for her just to pull in there.
Because you put a lot of concrete up by the front door too, and you've got a
Correct.
concrete patio. So
Yes.
you've covered most of your front yard with
Right.
concrete.
Yeah, we are right on the cusp of that 40%.
The board, if I may,
Yes, please, Mr. Duddy.
the vehicle that is parked in front of the residence is considered a commercial vehicle, and it is not allowed in that residentially zoned district.
That the George Shaw white truck that we
Yes.
see there?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I have a question on that. Um, I work for George Shaw. It's not a personal commercial truck. They require me to drive it.
Can I stop you right there?
Uh-huh.
Sorry. Until this absolute moment, I didn't know that. Mr. Ventura and I have a conflict. We represent that company.
Yeah.
Probably can't hear this case. Well, I don't know if I can hear this case. They're our firm's client.
Then we should probably continue this
Yep,
case
I think
to
we
the
should.
next meeting, and that would allow us to, we could
Sorry.
reset the quorum.
I apologize. Had I known that, I could have heard this whole case if I hadn't heard that name, but now I've heard that name, and if it takes me out, it takes Mr. Ventura out as well.
So we have 8 board members. The other 3 are not here today. So we will have to reestablish a new board at our next meeting. Have 3 of us, and then these 2 will not be on it, but we have 3 alternates that probably will be here, so we can hear your case again.
Yeah.
And it has to do with conflict of interest.
Right.
They're both attorneys, so.
I apologize. Had I known this, I would have stopped this at the beginning, but I didn't know how it would come into play. Could have thought about it when you said concrete contractor, but there's a lot of those out there.
I was gonna mention that I'm actually the foreman on the stuff going on out front.
Even worse.
I should have,
anyway,
because then you'd
so-
have known.
Anyway,
Okay, so we,
Would you
so,
make a
so
motion?
everyone say no more. So I need a motion to continue this case to the next meeting.
I'll make a motion on docket, number 12, case number, 123, that we, continue this case to the next docket, which I believe is October 8th.
Agree?
Yes.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Lawrence?
Second.
Okay, second. Go ahead.
Lawrence,
Time.
I think we can vote on the continuance.
Otto?
It doesn't matter, yeah.
I think you can.
So, aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Ventura,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. Mr. Earl, we can't hear you today because of a conflict. You're going to have
Yeah.
to come before us next time on October 8th.
Will
Thank you very
do.
mu- Thank you, sir. Uh-huh.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Hayes. Thank you. We'll see you on the 8th. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Hayes, does that date work with you guys? If not, we can move it to the
I believe so.
22nd too.
He's checking her schedule at work. Okay.
Okay, we good?
Yeah.
See you then.
We're good.
Thank you.
Okay, docket item number 13 is case CD BZA 2025-119. A request to approve variances in an R80 zoning district to the accessory uses and structures to permit a large detached accessory structure on the subject site, plus any additional variances on about 41.1 acres generally located at 8300 Reinhardt Road. Connor Tomlin is the staff planner for this case. If you are the applicant or a member of the public who is interested in speaking on this case, please raise your hand online or approach the microphone on the podium to be sworn in. So Doug Ubben and T. Meyer, I will promote to panelist online. You could both turn on your cameras and microphones to be sworn in. Are you here on this case? Okay. So 2 people online.
Are they there?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Could each of you raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today? If so, please state your name and address, and I do or I don't.
Doug Ubben, 1270 North Winchester, Olathe, Kansas, 66061. I do.
Thank you, Doug.
Wiley Meyer, 203 Northwest Spruce Street, Lee Summit, Missouri, and I do as well.
Thank you, Wiley. Who's speaking on the case, Doug or Wiley?
Doug.
Okay, Doug, there's a list of administrative exhibits associated with your case that are labeled 1 to 9. Do you have any questions on those exhibits? And if not, do I have your permission to admit them?
You have our permission.
Thank you, Doug. Part of that is a presentation by Mr. Tomlin on your case. Connor, please tell us about it.
Okay, today we have CD BZA 2025-119. This information is supposed to be filled out. I was just looking at it 5 minutes ago, so I'm not sure where it went. So I'll reference the staff report. The variance is of complete deviation to the location of a detached accessory structure to permit that detached accessory structure in the front yard of the subject site. Again, that's a complete deviation. A substantial change to the character of the neighborhood is anticipated as properties in this area appear to be compliant with accessory structure location standards. So this is the general location of the site and on the far southeast side of the city limits. This is a closer look at the site itself. This is the site plan on the left-hand side. You'll see the existing house here. It might be easier to view in your staff report, and then the proposed accessory structure barn right here. On the right-hand side is just the dimensions of the space. And then this is a rough idea with that red outline where it would be placed in relation to the existing home. And then these next couple slides are just some elevations of the structure. Again, that variance is a complete deviation and a substantial change to the character of the neighborhood is anticipated as properties in the area appear to be compliant with these accessory structure location standards. The difficulty could be obviated through a change of design, such as placing the building behind the front wall of the principal structure to then be in the rear yard. However, see Section A of the variance review criteria in the staff report for further information because, I'll allow the applicant to speak more to this. However, their idea potentially is to have this as an accessory structure initially and then turn it into the primary structure with time and convert the existing residence on the north side there into an ADU. However, the applicant can speak more to that as this is their idea, and I'm not sure of the time frame on what that might look like if they do it at all. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Connor. Any questions of Mr. Tomlin? All right. Doug, or since you're speaking on the case, or maybe Wiley, tell us why we should grant your request today, sir.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring up and share my screen if that's okay.
That'll be great. That could be exhibit number 10.
Is everybody seeing the image on the screen?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
So just to give a little more context here, I went ahead and drew the front yard line as it gets defined with where the existing house is. And then drew in where the ridge line is that runs through the property. And just so to give a little more context as well as the barns be using an accessory structure in the short term. Eventually he'd like to make this a primary residence. And at that point, this would become an accessory dwelling unit or potentially even just removed. Mr. Myers had a renter in this house for 30 years and really wouldn't like to evict him at this point. So that's why we'd like to have this variance to ask for the structure to be allowed where it's shown on the screen here. Being on the ridge line is important. For a barn structure, have overhead doors and equipment coming in. You can see if we move this to the west, it would start falling down the hill with these contours and create a situation that's hard to get equipment in and out of the overhead doors. And so as you look at this site, it's 40 acres. You know, the spirit and intent of the code is more of a traditional neighborhood where you've got, you know, you don't want to see accessory structures in the front yard visual from the street. So Reinhardt Road is the street to the east that creates the front yard. You can see here on the image that we're 600 feet from the street and separated by a heavy tree line. So nobody's gonna be able to even see these structures from the road. And then to give a little more context, we took some drone photos. This is at the barn site sitting with the drone elevated 60 feet above ground. The barn's 30 feet high. So this is, you know, twice the height up from where the roof's going to be for the barn. This is looking back towards Reinhardt, towards the east. You can, you know, Reinhardt would be beyond these trees down here. So you can see there's nothing to the east that's going to be able to visually see this from the street. And then just to give some more context, you know, looking in all directions to the north. This one's to the south. And then this one to the west. There's, as you can kind of see back in the original image here, there's nothing around this site. So no one's gonna be able to see this structure. So just the, you know, the hardship is that Mr. Meyer would like to be able to place this barn ultimately where he'd like to finish it someday for a primary residence. And to do that really needs to be placed. He wants to put it south of the existing house. And he'd like to have it here on the ridge just for, you know, what we talked about earlier with farm equipment and everything else. And just feel like this specific application isn't, you know, with the spirit and intent of the code, what it was originally written for. So with that, I'll stand for any questions, but that's our ask for the variance.
All right, thank you for that. You got a lot of property around you, it looks like. So any neighbor opposition?
No, there's no neighbor opposition.
And if I could just add real quick, first off, thanks to you all for meeting with me today to discuss this. Thanks, Connor, for helping us get our case together. And I would just say, I certainly, as Doug said,
Hold on, just
recognize-
wait, Wiley, wait a second.
Yeah.
Doug, stop sharing your screen because we can't see Wiley.
Oh, sorry about that.
There you go. Now you're good. Now we're good. Wiley, start over again. Thank you, sir.
No, I certainly recognize the need, as Doug pointed out, to have code such as this. But I don't know, in this case, respectfully, that it fits the spirit of the code. Just as a little bit of background, this is a family farm that has been my family for 50 years, over 50 years. I grew up in that principal dwelling that's there right now. And as Doug pointed out, I don't believe there's an impact to the neighbors, their view. It's 40 acres, not a small resident, not a resident or a subdivision type thing. The barn does follow the ridge line, and for having doors at the front and the rear of the barn, you'd have to build retaining walls just so it was level, and then to have them level enough to drive in and out of would create a hardship. And I probably should point out that the primary dwelling is an old farmhouse that I did grow up in. I've had a renter there since 1997. I really don't want to evict them. Obviously, that would make all my problems go away, but that wouldn't be the right thing to do. When they leave, they're in their 60s. I probably will tear that structure down. I don't know that I'll have a big use for it, and it's really not all that valuable of a property. But the future's a long time, so I just don't want to predict that. And at some point, as yet defined, it may be good to turn this into some part of it into a residential area. I've got grandkids on the way. I got my first due in November. I'm pretty excited about that. So having a place in the country that we could spend time would be nice. With that, I'll answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Board members, any questions?
I don't have any questions.
Comments? Motions? Seems pretty obscure to me, so.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Ms. Otto.
On docket number 13, case number 119, I move that the board approve the requested variances as stated in the staff report and as identified in the site plans.
Thank you. I have a motion by Ms. Otto. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Wright.
Gorens,
Aye.
Otto,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Ventura,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. Your motion is approved. Good luck with the project, Wiley and Doug. We're going back to docket number 9, I believe, the Truman Road case.
Thank you.
Yes,
Go on.
Thank you.
Docket item number 9 is case CD BZA 2025-109, a request to appeal a zoning violation related to an abandoned non-conforming sign within the B4-5 zoning district on about 0.631 acres generally located at 1700 East Truman Road. Anna Naniski is the staff planner for this case, and we have the applicant here. If you are a member of the public who would like to speak on this case, please raise your hand online or approach the microphone on the podium to be sworn in.
Well, I'm not the applicant. I'm the applicant's attorney, Michael Kinder, and I would like to apologize to the members of the board for
Hold
being
on.
late.
I'm going to, it's okay. So we're going to swear you in.
We have no hands raised on.
We have no hands. Please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today?
Yes.
Please state your name and address for the court reporter, please.
Well, Michael Kinder, my office is at 3100 Broadway, Suite 103 in Kansas City, Missouri.
Thank you, Mr. Kinder, Michael. All right. So I got to think of what we're doing. So we're here to trying to find a staff report. Is there a staff report
Yeah,
on
there
this?
is. Yeah.
I
here.
haven't found it yet. I'm still looking. Give me a quick second, Michael. There it is. All right. Thank you. All right. So, Michael, there's a list of administrative exhibits labeled 1 to 10 that we need to admit for your case today. Do you have any questions on those exhibits?
I don't. I would prefer to have a continuance if it is possible, so I could have my client here with me next time.
Okay.
if the members of the board would please consider that.
Is this the first time this case has been called for hearing?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Is the second Wednesday in October, which is October 8th, or do you prefer the later times or?
A later time, the later time would be preferable. I am in several locations that morning on
October
10th.
22nd? Is that what I hear you saying? Or do you want to go further?
October 22nd would work.
All right. I need a motion to continue this case to the October 22nd docket.
I'll make a motion. Docket item number 9, case number 109. I move that we continue this case without fee.
Staff would request with fee because the staff report was prepared and
Ready
Okay.
for it.
I move that we continue the case with fee to the October 22nd docket.
Perfect. I
And how much is the fee?
think it's 125, I think.
It's
I
a
don't
little bit
know.
more than that.
Where's Anna?
but
I can't remember.
137.
It's a little bit more than that, but it's around
But
that.
it's around that. It's not hundreds of dollars.
$625?
No,
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 it's
no,
like
no.
137,
Yeah.
something like
It's under
that.
150. And sir, the reason we're assessing the fee, because we were ready to go.
And I apologize.
It's okay.
That was a
It's all good.
calendaring issue. I'm
So
sorry.
we'll see October. Well, we need to
Well,
vote on
we had a
that.
motion from Ms. Wright.
Okay, thank you. The vote?
Is there a
Ms. Wright,
second?
second. Oh.
We have a motion. We need a second.
I'll second.
Okay, there you go. Sorry.
Lawrence,
Aye.
Otto,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Ventura,
Aye.
Ebbets.
We'll see you on the 22nd.
Thank you.
And we've got this one last case, then we'll be ready to go.
Well, to go back to docket item number one,
It'll show up on
I
Compass, Casey, the same
believe
way your
that
applicant paid it.
we still do not have an applicant on this case, Ricardo Campos. If Ricardo Campos is online, please raise your hand, but I don't see that name. If there is no one here in this case, staff would request that the request be dismissed. Staff has had numerous conversations with the applicant about the need to appear today. And so we would ask that you dismiss this case.
In docket item 1, case number 79, I move that we dismiss this matter.
I have a motion and a motion by Ms. Otto, second by Ms. Wright.
Gorence,
Aye.
Otto,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Ventura,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye, that matter is dismissed. And with that, if no further business, we are adjourned.
Wow, you
Board members.
got a little extra time.
Hey, I was watching that clock, but nothing. Right, about making